Okay, let's be real. Have you ever driven past a Bonchon or a Jollibee, seen a line wrapped all the way around the block, and just thought, what in the world is going on here? Well, there's a full-on land rush happening in the American food scene, and today we are breaking down the playbook.
So why now? Why is this all happening at once? This isn't just some passing trend, it's a fundamental shift in the market. And a few key brands have figured out a playbook that's letting them just run away with the game.
To really get what's at stake here, you just have to look at this number. The U.S. fried chicken market is on track to hit nearly $53 billion by 2032. We're not talking about a niche market. This is a massive battle for one of the most profitable sectors in all of fast food.
And this battle is being fought on totally new ground. I mean, American tastes are changing right before our eyes. While burger sales have actually dropped, the craving for fried chicken sandwiches has absolutely exploded, up 16%. A whole new generation of diners wants new flavors, new textures, and guess what? Asian frying techniques are perfectly positioned to deliver just that.
This has created what our source material is calling a demand gap. So you've got this huge cultural momentum. Think about the Korean wave, smashing right into a surprising lack of supply. It's like a perfect storm, creating this massive opportunity for any brand that can move fast and, more importantly, move smart.
Now, this is where the strategy part gets really interesting. Look at where these new stores are popping up, but even more telling is where they aren't. More than a third are jammed onto the coasts. That means the massive market of Middle America, as the source calls it, is basically a wide open runway.
And 3 specific brands are taking advantage of this gap way better than anyone else, each with its own very distinct, very powerful formula for success. So let's break down the playbooks for Bonchon, Jollibee, and TKK Fried Chicken.
Okay, first up, let's talk about Bonchon. Their entire strategy, everything they do, is built around one single thing: the absolute, uncompromising integrity of their product. These guys are the purists.
So you can see their whole model right here on the screen. They're a Korean brand, and they're using private equity money to scale their franchise model, and fast. But the secret, the key feature, is that famous double fry technique, which is driving their top stores to an incredible $2.46 million in average sales. This process, this is their competitive moat. It's their secret weapon. The chicken gets fried once, then it cools down to render out the fat, and then it's fried a second time to get that signature super crackly skin. After all that, the sauce is hand-brushed onto every single piece. They've not changed this technique one bit since 2002, and it's exactly why their chicken is so consistent and so hard for anyone else to copy.
All right, now let's flip the script completely and look at Jollibee from the Philippines. This is a company whose strategy is the total opposite of Bonchon's go scale. Jollibee is the patient operator. And get a load of these numbers. An average store is pulling in $4.6 million. So the question is, how? How do they do that? Well, by spending 27 years, think about that, 27 years perfecting their corporate-owned model. They mastered every tiny detail of their operations before even considering opening up to franchising this year. The heart and soul of this success is their heritage recipe. And this is just a wild story. They almost threw this exact recipe out back in 2005 because they wanted to chase mainstream American tastes. But they reversed course, they stuck to their authentic Filipino roots, and now their Chicken Joy is winning major national awards.
This timeline really says it all, doesn't it? It shows just extreme patience. First store in '98, a near-death experience in '05, and then 2 straight decades of disciplined, company-owned growth. They proved everything worked before they even thought about hitting the accelerator on franchising. So our third brand, TKK Fried Chicken from Taiwan, they found an even more unique path to growth. You could call them the asset-light partner. They figured out a brilliant shortcut to dodge the biggest costs of expansion.
TKK's model is absolutely fascinating. They have 0 standalone leases. Yep, 0. Instead, they embed their restaurants right inside existing Kung Fu Tea locations. This partnership lets them grow their U.S. presence by a staggering 167% in just 3 years, all without the massive risk of building out their own stores.
This slide just shows you how radical their approach really is. I mean, the traditional model is weighed down by these huge lease and build-out costs. TKK just sidesteps all that. They get to leverage their partner's real estate, their partner's foot traffic, and that allows for this incredibly fast, low-risk, and low-cost expansion. It's genius.
So, okay, we've looked at 3 very different ways to win.
What can we actually learn from them? Well, it really boils down to 3 core principles that pretty much any brand could apply.
It comes down to these 3 rules. First, authenticity before adaptation. You have to protect the core recipe at all costs. Second, sequence before scale. Prove your model works in one store before you even dream about building 100. And third, execution discipline. You have to obsess over quality and find operators who are just as obsessed as you are.
But you know, it's not all smooth sailing and crispy chicken from here on out. For all their success, each of these playbooks has its own hidden trap, a unique risk that could totally derail their growth.
This table breaks it all down. For Bonchon, the big question is, as they push into new territory, can they possibly maintain that strict quality? For Jollibee, will a planned IPO distract them from the very operational excellence that got them here? And for TKK, what happens if their one and only partner, Kung Fu Tea, starts to falter? And then there's the one big trap that all of them face: geographic concentration. Sure, starting in ethnic communities is a great way to prove your brand is legit, but if you stay there, you're limiting your potential. As the source material puts it, Middle America is an open runway, not a secondary market.
So for anyone watching this space, whether you're an investor, a competitor, or just a huge chicken fan, there are 3 key numbers you need to watch. First, can a new store hit at least $1 million in sales by its 2nd year? Second, can the brand expand quickly and cover new ground? And third, can they keep growing sales at their existing stores? If the answer to any of these becomes a no, their model might be starting to break.
So there you have it, 3 brilliant but fundamentally different strategies. You've got the product purist, the patient operator, and the asset-light partner. All of them are racing to capture a multi-billion-dollar prize. The final question is this: in this massive fight for America's palate, which formula, product, patience, or partnership, is ultimately going to win?